Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Guys, we coming to you right at the end of the Eagles Packers game. So it's a little bit later, but we're gonna still get through this. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get through the week 10 games. And then I got a kind of fun system. I wanted to put everything in tiers going into the last stretch of the NFL regular season. All right? Is that all right with y'all? I knew y'all appreciate it. Y'all always appreciate me. So, Philadelphia Eagles go into Lambeau Field and take the victory. They beat the Green Bay Packers 10-7. Of course, I always read the losing team stats first. Jordan Love, he was 20 of 36, 176 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Josh Jacobs, he had 21 carries for 74 yards, one touchdown. Um, Christian Watson had 45 yards receiving, excuse me. Not really much going on. They only had 170 yards, 70 yards passing. So let's see defensively. Did they do anything? They had no sacks and no picks. Says a lot. Says a lot right there. So the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he was 15 and 26, 183 yards, one touchdown, no picks. Saquon Barkley had 22 carries for 60 yards. No rushing touchdowns. Devontae Smith. I'm sorry. Devontae Smith. Yeah, Devontae Smith. I don't know why. Sorry, y'all. It's late. Devontae Smith had four receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown. And yeah, that was pretty much that. Now on their end, the Eagles had one, two, three sacks. So they had three sacks. So they moved it more. Um, Being 10-7, this is kind of the game that most people don't like. It's kind of a more boring game, but this is the kind of game that I actually really, really, really like, and I thought this was a really, really good game. Being a defensive player when I was playing, uh, 10-7 games, low scoring games. Um, it really is more of a chess match than any other kind of game that you will play. The mistakes get amplified in a defensive game. The mistakes. You know what I mean? They're you know what I mean? It's a lot goes into every single decision that happens. So I appreciate what both teams did, but I do think both teams have a ways to go. I think for whatever I think about the Eagles long term, they're not that team yet. They're not the great team that we saw last year yet. I think they're still morphing themselves into that. We'll get more into that as we go forward. And the Packers, I think this is them trying to get to their identity. I really liked how they played. It was really unfortunate that all their weapons were pretty much gone. Um, Tucker Kraft is, of course, the tight end. He's out for the year. Um, Romeo Dobbs got injured during the game. Golden, the wide receiver, the rookie wide receiver, Golden, can't think of his first name, but he wasn't even playing this game. So they were really, really thin at wide receiver, and all of their weapons being there probably would have made a difference. But this is the hand that they were dealt. But they lost some games that they didn't necessarily have to lose in the past before. So you know what I mean? They're still gonna, like I said, they're still gonna be in the playoffs. These are still two really, really good really, really good teams. And we'll be seeing more of them. They might even see each other in the playoffs again. So we might get this rematch. All right. So let's jump right into the 9 a.m. game in where was this game played? It was overseas somewhere. This game was in Berlin. So the 9 a.m. game, my Indianapolis Colts, we played the Atlanta Falcons and we actually won 31-25. So let's go into stats. Michael Penix Jr., he was 12 of 28 for 177 yards, one touchdown, no picks. Bijan Robinson had 17 carries for 84 yards. no touchdowns, and Tyler Algier actually had 57 yards rushing with two rushing touchdowns. Drake London had six receptions for 104 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty much all that happened there. Let's see, but they had one, two, three, four, five, six sacks. Jeez, they was coming for us. They had six sacks and they had a pick. Was it just one pick? It was just one pick. All right. So the Falcons played a really good game, believe it or not. Daniel Jones, he was 19 and 26, 255 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Jonathan Taylor was 32 carries, 244 yards, and three touchdowns. Stop playing with my boy. MVP. MVP. Let's go. Tyler Warren, he had eight receptions for 99 yards, no touchdowns. But Alec Pierce had four receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. And that pretty much is going on there. In terms of sacks, we had one, two, three sacks of our own, and no picks. All right. So this was a gutty team win. Do I think that the Falcons should have been this close? To be honest with you, no, I don't. Do I think Daniel Jones could have played better? Yes, I do. But it's hard to play better when you're getting sacked six times. And the Falcons have shown to be a team that rises to the occasion. They're going to be a really, really, really tough out. They're gonna have a top five pick, but they're not going to push the Buccaneers in their division. They're not going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be a tough out. And I think this is evidence of that between this game and when they beat the Bills. They actually beat the Bills, but coming this close, I think this is a team to be reckoned with, but maybe not in terms of wins. In sports betting, you might have something there, but in terms of wins, that's here nor there. Um, but in terms of the Colts, we got to tighten up the offensive line. Six sacks is outrageous. That's outrageous. Daniel Jones had like a bloody mouth in the game. It was crazy. It was crazy. But luckily, we got the MVP, Jonathan Taylor, toting that rock. You know what I'm saying? Yo, all I'm saying is yes, I do understand that. Moving on from that, I do understand Matthew Stafford is playing MVP. The least they could do is do a co-MVP. Y'all bet not cheat my boy out of the season that he's having. He's got over like 1,200 yards or 1,100 yards rushing, and we only halfway. We just got halfway through the regular season. My man's on pace for like 2,000 plus yards. It's crazy. It's crazy. He even had 40 yards of receiving on top of that. So altogether he had 280 yards. I mean, come on, stop it. Stop it. All right, who we got next? All right, Patriots and Bucks. Um, so New England Patriots did go into they went into Tampa Bay, came out with a victory to go to 8-2. This was a really good game, and with two teams that is hard to look at and say, "Oh yeah, they're really good teams." These are really good teams, and they going. I can't wait to see them both in the playoffs. Uh, but they're going to be really good. But in this one, the New England Patriots won 28-23 in Tampa Bay. So look at some stats. Baker Mayfield was 28 of 43, 273 yards, three touchdowns, no picks. They didn't have much rushing the ball, but Sean Tucker had 53 yards rushing. I'm gonna say my man's name correctly. Emeka Ebuka. Abuka, that's it. Emeka Ubuka, he had six receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. Um, Kate Otten had nine receptions for 82 yards, no touchdowns there. Tez Johnson had two receiving touchdowns. Shout out to him. And just look at some stats. They had one sack and one pick. Hmm. Drake May, he was 16 and 31, 270 yards, two touchdowns and a pick. Um, Travion Henderson, he had 14 carries for 147 yards and the two touchdowns. Um, Mac Hollins, he had six receptions for 106 yards. And Kyle Williams had one reception for 72 yards and a touchdown. And Stephon Diggs had a receiving touchdown too. Let's see what they had. They had two sacks. So they had two sacks. All right. So for the Bucks, just to start off, um, don't love. Now, I think Baker Mayfield, his name should still be in the MVP race. He's played that well. You know, I mean, there was a point this year where had they beaten a certain team where I was looking at them, I'm like, yo, Baker Mayfield is the MVP of the league. So I think losing the game, I get it. It happens from time to time. I think he should at least still be in the race. I don't love him throwing the ball 43 times though. I think that shows something wasn't working right. I look at them and I still think they're a balanced team. Uh, so yeah, I would like to see them get back next week, get back in the swing of things, play the game that they play. But this was a very entertaining game regardless. In terms of the Patriots, now I haven't talked too much about the Patriots, and y'all know how I feel about the Patriots and the dynasty that they had from before. This Patriots team is tough, man. And Drake May, he's playing the kind of game. He has a calm to his game that says, I'm gonna play the game that I'm gonna play. And you can't move me out of that. And I think I'm liking how he's playing. I'm liking the adjustments that they're like. It's not like they're overly talented roster, but their adjustments are amazing. They're finding different ways to beat people. Like in some games, Drake May's throwing for 350 yards. In some games, they're rushing it for 140, 150 yards. And in some games, they're doing both. You know, some games are having more sacks. Some games it's been defensive victory. So like even the games that they've lost, I've been looking at them. I'm really impressed with this team. This roster is really good. And I can't wait to see them come playoff time. All right. Who do we have next? Ravens, Vikings. All right. I know why I put this game on there. So the Baltimore Ravens, they improved to 4-5 and beat the Minnesota Vikings 27-19. JJ McCarthy was 20 of 42 for 248 yards, one touchdown, two picks. And he actually led them in rushing with 48 yards, but Aaron Jones also had 47 yards rushing and a touchdown. Um, Jalen Naylor had five receptions for 124 yards and one touchdown. It's crazy looking at all their weapons, and a guy named Jalen Naylor is who led them. I digress. It's fine. It's fine. They had one sack and no picks. All right, Lamar. He was 17 and 29, 176 yards, one touchdown, no picks. Derrick Henry had 75 yards rushing. Lamar also had 36 yards rushing. Zay Flowers led him with 75 yards rushing. I mean, receiving. And they had one sack and two picks, of course. So I looked at this game and it really wasn't much about the Vikings. The Vikings are going to be the Vikings. I mean, we'll see what they look like in the future. Not really looking at them as too much now. I love their roster, but JJ McCarthy has a long way to go. Usually when you look at a quarterback and they're throwing the ball like 40 times like that, that usually is a problem. Usually something's going wrong for a quarterback to have to throw the ball like 40 times. Just to let y'all know, for those who don't watch football too much, that's kind of an indicator Something may not have been going right. Um, with that said, the Ravens, 4-5. The Ravens were 1-5. And at 1-5, I looked at everything. And actually, when they got to 2-5, because they won the game against the Bears and they didn't have Lamar Jackson. And when they did that, I looked at everything and I've been telling people, and I'm going to say it again. The Ravens are still going to win the AFC North. They're one game out of first place now. After starting 1-5, they're now one game out of first place. Their schedule is lightening up, like we're showing here, and I love how they're playing Ravens football. Like the Ravens will put up 30 points on you and throw for 180 yards and rush for 150. You know, that's Baltimore Ravens football, and they'll figure out everything else. I'm still digesting them. Pause if needed. I'm still thinking about how they are going to be in the playoffs. So please give me a moment on that. But listen, man. Listen, man. I told y'all. I'm telling you. I said it once. I say it again. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win the AFC North title this year. I said it again. Book it. Who else we got? Ah, ha 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 ha. The Bills and the Dolphins. You know, I caught a lot of flack when I said the stuff about the Bills, and everybody was like, "Oh, you're gonna be wrong. Watch what happens." Oh, I've been texting a lot of people back. I've been texting a lot of people back because I told you, man. I keep trying to tell y'all. I understand it. You don't want to see it. Uh, Well, here's another game for you. Buffalo lost to the Miami Dolphins, to the 2-7 Miami Dolphins, by the way. Now they're 3-7, but to the 2-7 Miami Dolphins. They lost 30-13. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, so let's look at some stats. Did not think I would be reading Dolphin stats this late in the year, just to let y'all know. Tua was 15 and 21, 173 yards, two touchdowns, and two picks. Tua threw two picks and they still dominated. I mean, jeez. Devon Achan had 22 carries for 174 yards and two touchdowns. Wow. Jalen Waddle had five receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. And Malik Washington also had a receiving touchdown. By the way, you do know that the Dolphins just sold off all of their assets, right? So, first of all, Tyreek Hill is injured for the year. They just traded their defensive end to the Eagles. Um, I will get to that in a minute. Um, yeah, they've been sellers of everything, like they've been moving off of assets to kind of do it. I don't even know if their head coach is going to be there next year. And they just dominated Buffalo. Whatever. They had one, two, three sacks and three sacks and a pick. All right, Josh Allen was 28 of 40 for 306 yards, two touchdowns, and a pick. Remember, I told y'all, when quarterbacks start throwing like 40 times, that usually means something's not going right. James Cook had 53 yards rushing, but there was no rushing touchdowns. Khalil Shakir had 58 yards receiving. Um, Keon Coleman had 46 yards receiving and a touchdown. And Jackson Halls had a receiving touchdown as well. See what they did on defense. Did they have any sacks? No, no sacks. They did have the two picks, of course, but no sacks. See, y'all think I'm hating on Buffalo. Buffalo got no sacks, and the Dolphins' offensive line is terrible. The Buffalo Bills got zero sacks on an offensive line that is terrible. I told y'all a couple weeks ago when they played the Falcons that it wasn't a mystery that they got dominated up front. Getting dominated up front is not supposed to be what is supposed to happen to Buffalo. Buffalo's supposed to have that together, and they don't. And they don't. That's the scary part. That the thing that's supposed to be a strength, teams that are going to be missing the playoffs are dominating them in the same spaces. That's crazy. I don't have to say any more or any less about the whole thing. About the whole thing. Like, stop telling me about Buffalo. Don't tell me no more about Buffalo anymore this year about how good they are or how great they'll be, whatever. I don't care. Um, and just brushing over it, the Chargers did beat the Steelers, which is what I'm saying about Buffalo. I mean, about Baltimore winning the AFC North. Steelers lost again. All right. So what we're going to do is real quick, we're going to go into week 11 games to watch. Commanders, Dolphins. No, I'm just playing. That's not the game. That's not a game to watch. Chargers, Jaguars. Interesting. Um, Interesting game because I definitely feel as though the only reason that Trevor Lawrence ever got a contract was because he beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers in the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen again. I'm going to say the Chargers are coming off of a big win. The Jaguars did. Nope. Actually, no. I'm switching that. The Jaguars are going to win. The Chargers coming off of a big win. You know not to trust the Chargers. If you don't know by now, trust me. Just listen to me. You don't trust the Chargers. They're coming off of a big win. The Jaguars coming off of a loss in which they were the favorite, and the team came back. The Texans is who they played. So, yep, I'm picking the Jaguars to beat the Chargers again. So, not gonna lie to you, I will be watching this game. So we're moving on from that game. I will be watching this game. The Bucks versus the Bills. And this is in okay, this is in Buffalo. Okay. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. Everything that I just said good about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm gonna have to now say, all right, so I expect Buffalo to um, bounce back. This was the wrong time to come in there. They got to come into Buffalo. I understand the Bucks just lost as well, but this is a bad time to come into Buffalo. They just got embarrassed. Um, yeah, I'm taking Buffalo in this game. And then at 4:05, we got some games. The Seahawks and the Rams. Ooh, listen. I'm going with the Rams. I'm going with the Rams because I really think they're now going to start to roll off a lot of wins. Matt Stafford. This is in LA too. Matt Stafford is top two in the MVP race. Yeah, man. I just think I'm going with the Rams. Rams beating the Seahawks. And then we have the Broncos playing the Chiefs. Now, did they play already? I just want to check and see if they played already. I just want to see if they played already. Oops. No, this is the first of two games. Oh, we get them twice going down the stretch? Absolutely. All right. So this is the first of those two games. I think the Chiefs need this one a little bit more right now. They're coming off of a loss to Buffalo. They're coming off of a bye, I believe, too, right? They didn't play this week. Yeah, coming off of a bye. Andy Reid, off of a bye is fantastic in his career. I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs on this one. Um, yeah, it's just a lot going on there. And then the Sunday night game is gonna be a good one too. The Eagles, playing the Lions. I'm picking the Eagles here too. I'm picking the Eagles here too. I just don't see. The Eagles got to get rolling somehow, some way. And I'll just say that. Okay. So we got through the week 10 games, and now we just picked. So I wanted to put the teams in tiers to say this is what I feel about everybody in conjunction with each other. So without further ado, these are the NFL tiers as I see things. Look what it made me do. It made me smile. Um NFL tiers after free agency, after the free agency period. Excuse me, not free agency, after the trade deadline. I keep saying free agency. I'm sorry, y'all. The NFL tiers after the trade deadline. All right. Tier 1. Great job selling all of your assets and starting over. You need a round of applause for that. Now, the teams in that tier are the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Saints. Round of applause for you three teams. And if I'm not mistaken, all three of y'all won this weekend too. You sold all your assets. You know you starting over. You know, let's build this back up. We messed up. Let's get it going right again. And you still won. So this was great for you. Great for all of your franchises. You did the right thing by selling your assets. um. Oh, but Jets, thank you once again though for giving us Sauce Gardner. We appreciate that as a Colts fan. All right. Tier two. Tier two. Teams that don't recognize that they should be rebuilding. So they did nothing in this trade deadline, and they should have been trading their assets too. So who are those teams? The Cardinals. The Cardinals should have been selling their assets. They should have been giving some people. Uh, they should have been giving the good teams the players that they can get a lot for, and started the rebuilding. Yes, the Falcons. I know. I just said that they were a tough out. Didn't I say the whole thing? I get it. They're a good team. They're rebuilding and they just don't know it yet. They should have sold their assets and started this process again. It's going to be a rough year next year for them too. The Panthers. Panthers, you should sell your. You lost to the Saints. The Saints sold their assets just so next year can be better and 3 years from now can be better, and they still beat you. Panthers, you should have sold your assets. The Browns. Now I'm gonna say the Browns and the Titans. Now, what's common about both of them? They both have rookie quarterbacks. Now I know what you're gonna say, Tariq. You're being unfair. Why are you saying that they have rookie quarterbacks? Why would they start over once again? The infrastructure sucks. This is man. I feel so bad for Cam in Tennessee. Cam Ward in Tennessee, man. It's gonna be a rough couple years for you, man. Like this is not gonna get better anytime fast. And with the Browns, the only thing they did was retain Miles Garrett, and they basically gave him an obscene contract, like $50 million a year. They know that they're gonna suck. He knows they're gonna suck. He just said, "Hey, I might as well take care of my family for the rest of my life if we're gonna suck," you know. So they should be rebuilding. They just are hanging on to something. But that is a very good defense. I'm not gonna lie. And so is the Titans. The Titans defense is really good too, but they should be rebuilding. They just don't recognize it. um, who else we got? All right. So tier three. I understand why these teams didn't do something, but they probably should have gone one way or another. Whether it mean like getting players so that they could be better or blowing it up themselves. They should have done something, but they just stood with it. But I kind of understand why. Um, the Jags. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I understand the Jags record isn't bad. I almost put them in the list before this, in the tier before this. Like they don't recognize it yet, but they're gonna recognize something, I think, at the end of this year. With that said, if you really feel like you have a team, then this roster isn't good enough to advance and go far in the playoffs. I don't know why you didn't get something if that's what you're saying, or maybe you should have gotten rid of some players and started this a slow little rebuild. Now the Commanders. I get why the Commanders didn't do anything. They didn't get anybody because they're more than one player away. I still think they should have did something. Jaden Daniels, his arm is messed up. He'll be back. They could have did something to add depth somewhere. So, what I mean? That you don't have to sell the farm to get the top player. Get depth in certain places. Get a backup center. Get a backup corner. Get another tight end. Do something. I think to help Jane Daniels along, but they were in the NFC Championship game last year. I do understand why they didn't do anything. All right, the Giants. So I don't think that they should be rebuilding because I think they hit on Jackson Dart. I think Cam Scatterboo, somebody hit on Malik Neighbors. Is going to be coming back. Their defensive line is crazy. I still think they have the best defensive line in football. Uh, I just think that, even though you're not great, you still you're more attractive to trade a piece or trade a draft pick, You're attractive to do that because you're going to have a low draft pick. So your ability to get another player to really help you out or get a couple players to help you out, you really could have done that, I think. And yes, you're not going anywhere this year, but I always think towards the future. Um, the 49ers. So there's a lot of teams in this one. The 49ers. The 49ers, I get why you didn't um get anything, in trade deadline. And it's hard for you because your salary cap. I understand why you didn't get anything. It's still just gonna bite you in the ass. So you'll see. They're not gonna be in the playoffs or anything this year, despite what their record says. Remember, I said that here first. So that's what that is. Raiders, I get it. You know what I mean? You're building for the future. The Texans. The Texans, why would you not go get offensive linemen? I don't understand why the Texans don't want to get offensive linemen. Thank you. Thank you, because the Colts are in your division. So the Colts thank you for not getting said offensive lineman, but you're not out of it. You're not out of it, and you could have gotten um, some help for CJ Stroud from the offensive line, but to each his own. Chargers, your players got hurt. I get it. Bears, you're actually playing better, so I get why you didn't um get anything. Actually, I'll get back to the Bears. I'm gonna get back to the Bears. The Bengals. I get why you didn't. I'm just tired of watching what's going on there. Joe Burrow's hurt. He's been hit a lot. You got two great wide receivers. If it were me, and I'm saying I'm moving towards a Super Bowl, um, those two, both of them wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, would be up for trade bait. Let me get some pieces. Let me get some defensive ends. Let me get some tackles. Let me get some a center. Let me get some guards. You know what I mean? Let's fill out the rest of the roster. And with those two great talents, you'll be able to do that and rebuild the wide receiver core in the draft. So I don't know. You don't see it. You don't see the writing on the walls, but trust me, it's there. In the Bears, um, yeah, the Bears are actually playing really, 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 really good. Um, their record, they started off bad, but they're actually playing pretty good now. Um, I get why they didn't make a move, but I think they're probably more than one piece away. So I get it. Okay, let me slow down the Bears. I get it. That's fine. The next tier, Bills and Cowboys. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't. both of these organizations are kind of delusional right now. The Dallas Cowboys, you trade Micah Parsons at the beginning of the season, um, for cap relief and being able to get more on the roster, and then you trade said assets and get Quentin Williams and bring him in, which is another expensive piece. And I'm saying if you was going to get Quentin Williams, why did you not keep Micah Parsons? Then you could have both. I don't know what you're doing or where you think you are, but you are really far away from being even competitive. Like the Dallas Cowboys are not in a good situation. This getting Quentin Williams there did not help anything. So I they think they're good and they're not. Um Buffalo. Um every time that Josh Allen does not turn into Superman, you lose. That is not fair. Okay? It is not fair to look at Josh Allen and say, turn into Superman or it's your fault. What is that? Y'all messed up. Y'all fucked up in the off season. Here's what you should have did. You should have gotten another running back to go alongside James Cook. You need not one but two pass rushers, and you're content for the second year. First, you bring in Von Miller, and he was old last year. Like that did nothing. And then instead of bringing in somebody or two pass rushers with him, excuse me, you cut him and then bring in Joey Bosa, who's also old and is getting no production from the pass rush, and you're in the same situation again. So you need not one, but two pass rushers. And I have no idea why you think that you're close to winning the Super Bowl. There is a 0% chance that the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. There's a 0% chance of this. It's just not going to happen. They don't have what it takes. This roster is not good enough to win a Super Bowl. And they're only going to go as far as Josh Allen can turn into Superman. And let me tell y'all something, in the history of the NFL, no quarterback has turned into Superman 4 consecutive weeks in the playoffs. So 3 weeks and then the Super Bowl. That's never happened. Not against really good teams that now have more and more tape on you. That's never happened. So Buffalo has no chance of going to the Super Bowl or winning it. And I have no idea why they're thinking that this is a good enough roster. It's not fair to Josh Allen at all. All right. So, all right. So these are great moves. These are great moves, but I think you're still another piece away. Okay. So the Bucks. A lot of injuries struck the Bucks. So they're probably more than one move away. They need they need a lot of things to go their way. You know what I mean? Even with that said, they're a really good team. They're fun to watch. But they're gonna need more to really compete. But I do think that it's possible for them next year. Um, the Steelers. Steelers needed another wide receiver. I mean, this defense. Have y'all been not watching this defense the last couple weeks? The Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They back to being the Blitzburg Steelers. Listen, that defense is legit. They're not going to be able to put up enough points to do anything. They need another legitimate wide receiver. And probably they probably needed a compliment at running back, but more they needed a compliment at wide receiver for DK Metcalf. The Patriots. The Patriots, man, if they had another pass rusher, you see what I did there? If the Patriots had another pass rusher, I'd be like, hold on, slow down. Let's be grateful that they don't have it. The Seahawks. Seahawks is hard to see because they're playing well, actually. Um, the Seahawks, I just don't like Sam Darnold like that. I can't shake it. It took me a long time with Baker Mayfield to shake the feeling. I have not shook the feeling from Sam Darnold like that. And I think that they've probably need another quarterback still to win a Super Bowl. Because this roster, have y'all not been watching this roster? And they just picked up Shaheed from New Orleans. Wasn't it Shaheed from New Orleans, wide receiver, to go with JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba? I think they're gonna listen to me. They're gonna go as far as Sam Darnold can take them. We'll see what that ceiling looks like. I just don't think. I think they're good in so many places. I just don't think that they're shut down. Like this roster isn't outrageously talented to compensate for what his ceiling will show to be. And which brings me to the Lions and my Colts. Same answer. I don't understand. Like we did listen. So the Lions, if they were to just go get another pass rusher, and like if they went and got Trey Hendrickson, right? Then we'd be talking. I would be talking about the Lions as the team that would be winning the Super Bowl this year. But they're not going to generate enough pressure with what they have. And my Colts, we're basically so the Indianapolis Colts are now they're formatted to be pretty much what we thought the Baltimore Ravens were going to be coming into this year. We got great corners. We blitz a lot. Um, we're relying on a running game. Um, Daniel Jones is playing very well, but Daniel Jones does have a ceiling, and we had the opportunity to create a roster that would have been crazy. It would have been wild. You understand? It would have been wild having like a Trey Hendrickson or a Max Crosby to go with Liatu Latu on that defensive line, and we could say, "Hey, whatever, however we have to play this defense to beat you, we actually can because we can even still get to you with four pass rushers, but we're looking to blitz still." All of that would have been phenomenal. We did not do it, and I feel as though that's going to bite us in the ass eventually. You know. So yes. So the next tier, tier six, didn't necessarily need to make moves. The Ravens. The Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Okay, so they don't really necessarily need to make moves. And plus, I don't know how like what would be the moves because they would probably need like two of them to really put them over the hump. But coming back from 1-5 to win a division, I think that's going to say a lot about who the Baltimore Ravens are. And I think that's it. The Packers, the Green Bay Packers. Um, they got Michael Parsons. They do have two pass rushers. What they need is a tone setter. They need a tone setter. There's no I'm not sure if that's like a scary defensive tackle or a scary linebacker or a safety come and knock you out or or something like that. But they need something like that on that defense because that defense just doesn't have nasty on it. It has a lot of talent, but it don't have nasty on it. And yeah, they're really talented. You know, they played the Eagles tonight. It was a really good game. We'll see how that turns out. The Rams, the biggest threat to the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Matthew Stafford is they're saying he's in the lead for MVP. He's in the lead for MVP. You know what I mean? I don't know what else they really need. I mean, they have two running backs too. I like their two running backs. They have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Um, I think they have two pass rushers, although Jared Verse isn't really playing like he did last year. But McDonald, I can't think of his first name, but McDonald is playing really well. And I think with Jared Verse, they have the potential of having two legitimate pass rushers. Um, I'm still loving this rebuild that they've done. I'm still waiting for them because remember they've mortgaged their whole future to win the Super Bowl that they won, and they still have yet to miss the playoffs. And they're back to being a Super Bowl contender, so they didn't really need anything. The Broncos. Same answer I was giving about the Seahawks. I feel about the Broncos. I just feel as though the Broncos have better talent. They're more explosive. They have greatness where other teams probably have good at the same positions. Like they have the best cornerback in the league. They have the best pass rush in the league. Um, like their defensive line, like they have two defensive linemen who are like first and third in sacks. So they're getting to you. You know what I mean? They're gonna go as far as Bo Nix will take them. And I'm feeling in the moment Bo Nix isn't really showing it. I'm feeling like Bo Nix will turn a corner or Sean Payton's gonna figure out, all right, we gotta protect him a little bit more and reel him in to not mess up what we got going on. But I feel better about the Broncos. Um, and the Chiefs. I don't even have to say anything about that because they've defied the odds like for the last like 4 years. How do you go to Super Bowls with the least talented rosters ever? Winning two of those Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Losing one and how it's looking, you're probably the favorites to still go back, and they're not even in the playoffs yet. If the playoffs started today, they'd be out of it, and I'm confident that they'll be in the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind they'll be in the playoffs, and that's scary. I don't want to see them in the first round. I don't. And let's look. I just want to see. I just want to see one thing. Okay. And the final tier. NFL, why did y'all let the Eagles do this again? Why did y'all let them fill in the blanks on their roster? Like, what does how we have on everybody that like he's got like y'all cheated and he knows it and he can prove it and he's like give me whatever I want. Y'all committed a crime somewhere and he knows it and he's like I'm telling if you don't give me what I need cuz he's just getting every time what he needs to go win a Super Bowl. He filled in all the blanks. They filled in all the blanks. I can't believe y'all let them do this. Getting Jair Alexander, their cornerbacks weren't playing well. They get Jair Alexander. The pass rush isn't really good. They get Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why did y'all let like the Eagles are probably going back to the Super Bowl, y'all? I just want you to know. The Eagles are probably going back to the Super Bowl. Just know that. Okay. Well, these are the NFL tiers and how we stand now. This was fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was fun. This was fun doing this. But we're probably gonna wrap this up because pretty late over here. Pretty late over here, but it's all good. We're gonna talk again, of course. But with that said, you catch the full episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Catch the reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We all over the place. Family, I had such a good time with y'all. I love y'all. And it hurts me every single time I got to tell you, cuz you don't know football. See, I switched it up for y'all that time. I'm your boy Reek, and like Martin said, I'ma see you when I see you. Peace.